Yo, yo, what's going on? What's going on? Happy Friday, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of the Polkadot Party. It's Friday. You could be anywhere in the world, yet you are here with me. And I gotta admit, that's that's love, man. That's love. Let me go ahead and make sure my audio is set up. How y'all doing this Friday? I don't know why I don't know why the default picture is that of Black Roof. Shout to him. See him on his stuff. Make sure you support him as well. Let's go ahead and share screen so we'll get started. Let's see. I'll move this over. I'll go ahead and throw the link out to everybody out there in Wonderland. Let's go ahead and turn on the audio as well. All right, test. Let's hope that this is ringing in nice and loud. Yeah, that sounds much better. All right, y'all. Happy Friday. Welcome back to another episode of the Polkadot Party. My name is Mike. I'll be your host today. As always, you come here to learn all things in regards to the Polkadot ecosystem, what the movements are, and where there are opportunities to be involved. This week, we're going to talk about common good parachains. If you don't know what common good parachains are, they're essentially, they provide sort of universal utility to the entire Polkadot ecosystem and enjoy some incentives. Before we go ahead and get started, let me go ahead and share the link to Twitter. Let's see. Where's the share button? Here we go. I'm gonna grab this really quick. What up, Streambot? Streambot here with me. Let's go ahead and throw a couple of these in here. Boom, boom. Oh, I was like, wait, I got my own like little UFO Twitter. Is anybody else paying attention to what's going on with everything in the UFO conversation? Because it's wild, man. So I create my own Twitter just to, speak on that stuff. You can follow that if you want. We are live to cover statement. It's actually a number of statements on here. The heck is statement? I wonder if they even have a. I don't even know if they have a Twitter account. Okay, well. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and tweet this out. Going live. Here to discuss common good parachains and on Polkadot like statement and statemine. Can't type today. All right, let me get that share link going and we can hop right in. to the exploration because we came across the notion of common good parachains at our last episode where we were talking about Efinity. And this is just a feature of the Polkadot ecosystem that's pretty unique to it, pretty exciting, I think. Oh, drinking coffee. Happy Friday morning. I know it's not a great Friday to everybody, but you decided to be here with me. So shout out to you. I'm not even sharing my screen. So shout out to you. Appreciate y'all for deciding to be here. As always, I'm Mike. You can follow me on Twitter at Mike_Sadler. It's not my cover, but I didn't know how to take that off, but it is what it is. Today, we're going to talk about common good parachains, what they are, how they work, and everything that you should know. Our goal is to educate and keep everybody informed on everything that's going on in the Polkadot ecosystem in particular. And yeah, let's go ahead and hop right in. As always, we always start with just a quick market overview, just see how things are going. Bitcoin actually up for the first time in the past 7 days. Do y'all think we hit a macro low here? Are we back to up only mode, or is this a dead cat bounce? That's what everybody is wondering. JS, long live Polkadot the Great. Yeah, boy, you already know it. You already know. But let's see, Ethereum up 13.5% this week. I assume that has a lot to do with relief from the pressure of the whole ETH staked ETH situation. I did see Coin Bureau covered everything that we do know with Celsius yesterday, and it's very, very interesting. There's more rumors going around that they may actually get out of this alive. So definitely keeping an eye on that for everybody who said that they were dead, gone, and out. BNB up 13% this past week, making big moves in the background. I saw they got Cristiano Ronaldo on XRP up 15%, 16% the past 7 days. So as always, when Bitcoin and Ethereum are doing well, most alts are having huge sort of recoveries. And this past week, XRP, of course, appears to be winning their court case against the SEC, which will send shockwaves through the entire space and allow us some sort of some sort of expectation, at least, as to like what we can expect is going to happen. Oh, look, I didn't know I can make that bigger. Look at that. That's cool. And so, yeah, Polkadot is up 14.5%. Solana up 34% in 1 week. That is pretty insane. Let's go ahead and hop in here. We'll see what the Polkadot chart looks like. Down 85% from its all-time highs, but again up over 10%, 15% in the past 7 days. Let's take a quick peek at how it's doing versus Bitcoin. It's about the same. Bitcoin sort of starting to outperform a bit. Probably means Bitcoin dominance is going up. Go ahead and pull up TradingView. We'll just take a quick peek at the chart for both Bitcoin as well as for Polkadot. In doing so, we'll get a good idea of just where the market is going and sort of what we can expect. Let's see. Let's go ahead and change the increments here for these candles. So if you're not watching the day-to-day price action, good on you, because you're probably living a normal, healthy life and not FOMOing into longs or flooding out shorts. As you can see, this is the past few days. Let's go ahead and push this back. I like to just take a long-term look how things are sort of setting up. You can see that the old all-time high acted as a resistance and became support as we were legging into the bull market last year. And then we did see it go ahead and turn back into sort of a resistance again as we were coming out of the bull market just last month. we do see the MACD continues to trend negatively on Bitcoin, sort of saying that there's still a negative bias, at least on the weekly time frame. And the RSI is showing that it's still oversold. We're still underneath the bottom range of this light purple or dark purple area, but potentially coming back over there, which will put us back, hopefully indicate a trend reversal. On more immediate time frames, let's just take a quick look. You can see that in the past week, we did fall through what was a support from our way into the bull market. And then we've kind of just been hanging out in this little area under here for a bit. We did have what maybe was a bull trap. It really does look to me like it was a bull trap, a bear trap. Like we were going to fall significantly below the old all-time high set in 2017. As many of you know, that doesn't happen quite often. That's like a once in a lifetime thing, I guess so far. And so we have sort of in the meantime been ranging in a bit of a formation. Let me pull this down so you can see a little bit more detail on sort of what I'm looking at least. And this, all of these lines are to be taken with a grain of salt. But if we were to sort of try to, let's just see if we try to line it up exactly. We did sort of bounce under here and bounce right off the top of this candle and have attempted to make a push through, maybe on a lower time frame. We'll see whether or not we were able to do so in more decisive fashion. To me, though, it kind of looks like we haven't really broken through sort of out of the formation yet. Of course, if we do break out of the formation, arguably there's a horizontal line here, then that would signal potentially additional upside. However, it does look like in terms of momentum, we are sort of middling here. We may be, basically the market's trying to figure out its mind. So very, very interesting. It's always good to start your analysis off looking at Bitcoin because everything, of course, does follow Bitcoin. I mean, you can just look here and see that Polkadot is fairly sideways over the past 7 days, although trending upward recently. It does look like we still are below this sort of macro line that we drew on our last episode, just to sort of get something on the chart here. And not a whole lot of interesting price action in my opinion. Nothing really definitive has come out of the Polkadot ecosystem this past week that would catalyze significant positive price action. So seeing this sort of behavior is not that surprising. There were two headlines that came up this past week that I thought might be worth sharing with the community. The first of which is this tweet from Lennart Laubish, who is the community manager for Parallel Finance. He did sort of posit this. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's degen given the current state of the market, but he did lay out how he expects to generate up to 50% APY on his DOT via diamond hand, a thread. It's actually funny that this showed up because I actually have this emoji added as one of my muted words, because people are just killing it for a little bit. But anyway, he basically just said, he just went through and explained what crowd loan DOT is. Basically, it's kind of like stake ETH. It's kind of like, you lock up your DOT and you get a derivative asset back that can be used in DeFi protocols and be used to generate yield, or maybe you can use it as collateral for lending, what have you. So there are a couple of different derivatives, right? But the sort of base level configuration is a one-to-one conversion of crowd loan DOT to DOT. So C DOT is derivative from DOT given the crowd loans. Other types of the same derivative exists, like Binance will give you B DOT, Kala gave you liquid crowd loan DOT, LC DOT, and C DOT from Parallel Finance. And then let's see, could have just said stake to ETH. But so here's how he says you can generate this yield. And I'm interested to know if you feel that same way. He says that with every one crowd loan dot, you get one dot back. That means that you can use Parallel Finance's automated market maker, basically their like Uniswap sort of like tool, to buy over one crowd loan dot for one dot. Like, that sounds like a pretty solid trade to most people, right? You get back more than what you took in. Well, he says if he holds it until the end of the lease period, well, now he's up, right? So he says that he's made 34% APY off of this swap specifically, just because crowd loan dot is trading at a discount to dot itself. But then he said you can then take that 1.46 crowd loan dot and lend it out. Yes, 14.5%. Move the decimal plate. Then, yeah, he says you can lend your crowd loan dot for 50% of your value without getting liquidated. So they said that they have this liquidation resistant mechanism for which there's no way that you can get liquidated by lending out your crowd loan dot. So then he's talking about, well, by the time that you pay everything back, basically he hypothecated this. He basically said you can then convert some of that crowd loan dot that you just got from borrowing via the lending proceeds to get even more dot, and then you can tie up that dot and dot and dot and dot and dot and dot. If all of this is sounding very familiar, and why I'm interested to know whether or not people have appetite for this right now is because sort of the hot water that Three Arrows Capital just got in was, they would be offering their clients who they were custodying their treasuries 8% APY, and then taking that in participating in other DeFi protocols while also borrowing and using some of those proceeds to get involved in other DeFi protocols. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's really appetite for this aggressive yield farming sort of strategy right now, but shout out to him for putting this together. I'll go ahead and drop this thread in the chat. So if you are interested in checking it out, you can, but that's, I don't know. I think it'll always sort of go down as degenerate behavior nowadays. I think people are going to look at yield farming like with a little bit more of a side eye moving forward. People are not going to be quick to forget all that's gone on here. Let's go ahead and move on to our second sort of headline. And this one is a follow-up to our previously announced Arrington Capital, who is involved in the Moonbeam ecosystem. It's basically their first incentivization fund there, where they basically just gave $100 million to anybody who would develop on the Moonbeam blockchain, Parachain. And it looks like Moonwell is that first project. So here is their release, sort of press release. So it's a native capital markets protocol on Moonbeam. Capital markets just meaning, you can, bond your crypto, you can lend it, you can probably stake it. Basically, it's a DeFi marketplace. So interesting to see adoption within this ecosystem, starting with a huge infusion of capital. And, it's starting to seem like, yeah, there might be times where, you can launch a blockchain without some sort of incentivization fund. But it's really becoming necessary, I think. I think if you don't have any sort of incentivization fund specifically dedicated to your protocol, how are you going to attract developers? I mean, that's a real question. How are you going to get people to leave, the other crypto projects that they're involved in to come and develop on yours? So I just thought that was interesting. Just wanted to follow up and just announced, hey, look, there's money being put to work within this ecosystem on the Moonbeam parachain specifically. And this is good because when you think about it, the parachain leases from that very first slot auction, those end in, a year and 4 months? So I think Derek, you and the entire Moonbeam team know that, hey, look, we need to go ahead and develop. We need to get some projects out here. We need to start, contributing some real value. Otherwise, we're not going to be voted in or voted to retain our parachain at the end of our lease. So very, very interesting to see this sort of take off, and we'll follow up. Let's just actually take a quick look at Moonwell. This is, yes, tax content. So they have apps. They have 2 apps. Interesting. One called Apollo, one called Artemis. One is for Kusama. So I'll just get rid of that because we already know what that's going to look like. So it looks like, yeah, they've got some supply here. They've got capital, essentially. They've got some ETH here where, you can earn 4% by supplying and have to pay about 5% if you borrow. You've got Frax, which is a stable coin, XC, KSM, which is the sort of cross-chain version of Kusama, and USDC multi. I think this is a multi-chain enabled USDC. I think basically they brought that cross-chain messaging to the USDC sort of stablecoin. On the Artemis version, funny because we actually do have spaceships or like galactic missions, space missions, I guess, NASA missions called Apollo, of course, but Artemis is the moon lander that's going to, I want to say, the far side of the moon next year. Maybe they're gonna bring people back. Anyway, going to the moon, right? So it looks like Moonbeam, this seems like a pretty solid APY for if you're going to supply them with your Moonbeam. Wow, they even have a Bitcoin derivative on here where you can earn 9.5%. Let me know, does everybody still have appetite for staking rewards? I'm not really sure. Sorry. Let's go ahead and turn that down a bit. Yeah, I'd be very interested to know what this what the thoughts are there. This is Moonwell. What about is Artemis up yet or not? That doesn't look like it. It's okay, so it's only on Kusama right now. So is what it is. Let's see if we can connect. Pull this over before I dox myself. I'm just curious, let's go ahead and use these things, right? I don't have a lot in this account anyway, but okay. I thought it said that this was only, oh, you know what? Okay, I see it. Let's go ahead and switch to Moonbeam and let's see. I don't think I have a lot in this wallet, so it should be fine. Ooh, nothing. Very cool. Staking rewards are coming up. So yeah, I have like $26 worth of Moonbeam in here, so not bad. So I wonder, to the degree that if we were to deposit, you could get like, oh wow, okay. There's no usually there's like a additional pop-up on the MetaMask side of things saying, hey, like, do you approve this transaction? But I guess maybe it's just going to go through unless there's a pop-up somewhere I'm not seeing. Oh. There it is. My computer's just moving as slowly as possible, of course. Oh, okay. Yeah, it didn't. I hate this. It doesn't always pull out the exact amount that you need to. It doesn't always subtract transaction fees from how much you're. I'm gonna say no right now. It's only $25, which means over the duration of a year, I'd be making a whopping 13 Glimmer token. Maybe that'll be worth a lot one day, but good to see. It looks like this is like some sort of DEX. It's got, okay, a little blog post came out. But good to see that there is development here. And, with cash in hand, of course there is, right? So very, very interesting. Let's see who's on the team. Anybody we know of? Okay. Oxmaki, the sushi guy. Sushi swap. That's good. At least we know that he knows how to build a DEX. Dapper Labs. That's good. Mina Protocol. Heard of it. Coinbase Ventures, sure. Okay, Coinbase Ventures has a seat on the table. Don't know any of these other people other than Arrington, of course. And contributors, engineers, growth. Okay, a little crypto Coven out here. Love to see it. Cool. Well, that's all on them. Just like to run through some of the new projects. Let's go ahead and begin looking into common good parachains, what they are, how they work, and why you should have an eye on them. Let's go ahead and close some windows, especially heavy ones like TradingView and CoinGecko. So, pulled this up just before. So yeah, Statemint is sort of the project that is a common good parachain. But on Polkadot's wiki, they walk through common good parachains. Let's see, there are parachain slots reserved for functionality that benefits the ecosystem as a whole. So that's a pretty concise and telling definition. Let's see, by allocating a subset of parachain slots to common good chains, the entire network can realize the benefit of valuable parachains that would otherwise be underfunded due to the free rider problem, which is just basically who's going to pay the tax if you don't require a tax, right? I think that's something we should all think long and hard about. But so very cool. They're not allocated via the parachain auction process, but by on-chain governance. So Statemint and Statemine having their common good designation means that they don't have to worry about winning another parachain slot auction. So that's pretty interesting. I imagine if I was a project leader, that might be a goal of mine, is to achieve such imperative functionality that you become a common good parachain. I wonder if there are limits to the number of those. So let's see. Purpose of these parachains will fall into one of two categories: system level chains or public utility chains. Let's see. Common good parachains. These defined as giving essential functionality, for which there are two types. Let's go ahead and pull this over. Go like this so you guys can kind of see where I'm taking notes. Cool. There's two types. There's system level chains. There's public utility chains. And let's figure out, let's see what that's about. System level chains move functionality from relay chain into parachains. Move governance. Okay. Owning logic from relay to parachain is an optimization. freeze capacity. Adding a system level chain can make the network several more parachains. Take a slice of 100 parachain pie. System level chain takes one slice and bakes a bigger pie. The vast majority of common good chains will likely be unopinionated system level chains. So system level chains, these move functionality from the relay chain to parachains. And again, these are, the relay chain is that hub, if you think about a bike tire, and the spokes are the parachains. So basically, this is a ball bearing of sorts. It sort of moves functionality from the hub to the spoke. So that's interesting. Unopinionated system level chains. I mean, I don't understand why they say unopinionated here, especially if governance is used to hash these things into existence. It's a little confusing for me. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll explain. Other types of chain. The second type is public utility chains. They add functionality that doesn't exist yet, but stakeholders believe will add value to the entire network. They add new functionality. Okay, is this like existing functionality and this is new functionality? There's a component there. Stakeholders must believe that it is worth allocating a slot that would otherwise go to winners of an auction and thus would have an objective expression conviction from its backers. Maybe that could be like somebody figured out a way to patch like an exploit. That might be, a way to go about that. Not really sure. Moving right along, governance provides the means to internalize the value of parachain slot and distribute it across. Okay. Public utility chains will always be fully aligned. Turn that down a little bit. This means they will adopt relay chain's native token as their native token and respect any messages coming from the relay chain. So public utility chains, they don't have their own tokens because they use DOT or KSM. Add new functionality. Use the native beacon chains token .ksm. So of course, everything that works on DOT is the same on their canary network, Kusama. Some examples of public utility chains are bridges, okay, .ksm denominated smart contracts, and generic asset chains. Like Statemint. Public utility parachains would typically grant privileged business logic to Polkadot's governance. Okay, so this is definitely going to be, if you're developing within the Polkadot ecosystem, you may come up with a means of improving the entire ecosystem with some sort of functionality that hasn't been developed yet, hasn't been considered. And in doing so, has to be passed by governance, adds functionality beyond the scope of the relay chain. And they will likely be approved by the network stakeholders only in rare scenarios. Okay, well, let's see. Adds new functionality beyond the scope of the relay chain. Cool. Okay, so we have somewhat of a gist of what they are. Common good chains, that's sort of what we've come here to talk about. Looks like there are 2 in this sort of wiki so far. The first is Statemint and its cousin Statemine. They're the first common good parachain. Statemint is a public utility chain and that it adds functionality not available in the relay chain, namely the creation and management of assets. Okay, so it sounds like, I'm sure they're going to explain this, that the relay chain doesn't actually already have coded into it the ability to create other native assets, create other, assets such as like ERC20 fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens. And Statement, creates the ability to create both of those. These interfaces are in the logic of the chain itself. By encoding this logic directly into the statement runtime, token storage and actions do not need to be metered and can happen faster and cheaper. Okay, so the creation mechanisms for these types of assets occur on this parachain, not on the relay chain, thus giving the relay chain more bandwidth to run the entire network, giving it, more throughput, more, ability to do other things. So that's kind of interesting how they've sort of modulated the kind of sort of, put that into its own unit and put it here. So also if something goes wrong with it, maybe the implications are also capped in such a way that they won't affect the beacon chain, the relay chain. So sort of interesting. I can sort of see why the whole Polkadot logo is kind of coming together and sort of what Gavin Wood's thinking was. Let me just quick check the chat. Adrian Friday upgraded membership to Crypto Warrior. Nice. Welcome. Real talk, any opinion on Akala and Karura? Dr. Gavin seemed to have anointed them earlier with the algorithm debacle. Do those parachains have the same glimmer? I'm not gonna lie, I'm not privy to this opinion by Dr. Gavin just yet. I don't really know whether or not what the sort of exploit is. I do know that I wasn't happy with the fact that I couldn't see my Polkadot accumulating. Is this a recent development? Let's see. Gavin Wood, Akala. Is there news? Did he say something? I need more details. What's the haps? What's the haps? Let me know. Yeah, I don't see. I don't see anything on this, but yeah, shoot it in the chat. Let me know, and I'll take a look. Yeah. So anyhow, in regards to Statement itself, so we understand that let's see, common good parachains so far. One is Statemint, aka Statemine on Kusama. And this adds the public, go ahead and italicize that, utility to create and manage both fungible and non-fungible assets. These are handled on its own parachain. Also does not need to worry about re-election to the common good designation. Pretty sweet if you ask me. Because that's sort of like just free hosting, just free bandwidth. Like you just get to, enjoy that. So let's see what else. Like most common good chains, Statement will use DOT as its native token, i.e. represented in its instance of the balances palette. Definitely going to look into palettes because I don't think that this is an aspect of other cryptocurrencies just yet, or maybe they're named something different. But when I'm in like Subscan looking around at like my wallet transaction history, I'll sometimes see this palette nominator, and I want to know what that is. So we'll investigate that in a future episode. Statement trust messages about balances from the relay chains, vice versa. So users can transfer dot from relay chain to their address on statement. Okay. Because of the efficient execution logic and parachain, transaction fees, deposits, okay. These little fee levels mean statement is suited to handling dot balances transfers while managing. Okay. It must stay fully aligned with the relay chain. Upgrades to statement will require relay chain's root origin, i.e. a referendum. Some of the other logic like privileged asset functionality will defer to relay chain's council. Okay, so some body called the relay chain council will be the one to manage referendum. Any sort of changes to statement need to go through the relay chains council. Spelled that wrong. Okay, so it's interesting because this entire notion of being able to create or manage fungibles and non-fungibles is native to like the Ethereum virtual machine. But on Polkadot, this particular function is handled by a parachain project called Statemint or Statemine. I'm pretty sure that it's part of Parity. Parity Technologies, which is done. Did they do Moonbeam or did they do Polkadot? I forget. I know that they're like a developer team from Parity Ethereum. Yeah, okay. So they actually do develop the actual Polkadot core infrastructure. And yeah, Substrate. Okay, they're open source. Oh, very cool. I wish we could get like, more developers in here to sort of, give us extra context that we might be missing. But so basically the team that developed the technology behind Polkadot has also developed the technology for Statement. So I don't know if that's just like a solid branding practice, just to like say, oh, different branding, different logo, different everything, but it's still done by the same team, but it is what it is. Let's see. No exploration is checking for any change in opinion by Dr. Gam, especially if Akala is algorithmic. I think Akala's stablecoin is very similar to like the credit system. I think it's very much like they act as a lender, and people can put down collateral and get back a certain number of stable coins weighted against their collateral. And then of course, if the value of that collateral drops, rapidly, they'll need to add more collateral or pay back their loan or risk liquidation. I'm not sure how much is algorithmically done with that stable coin, but I think it's more like a straightforward, just like a stable coin. Next, let's just take a quick look into this other common good parachain since it's on here. Encointer will become Kusama's second common good parachain, which adds logic to the relay chain that aims to bring financial inclusivity to Web3 and mitigate Sybil attacks with a novel proof of personhood system for unique identity. Okay, so Encointer is all about ID verification. Encointer. Identity verification protocol, let's call it proof of personhood. Okay. I don't know what a Sybil attack is. Is this just like where you pretend like you're somebody else and steal their stuff? Sybil attack is a type of attack on a computer network service in which an attacker subverts the service's reputation by creating a large number of small number of entities, counterfeiting. Yes. So basically, yeah, basically what we're going through on Twitter with all these bots. A small number of entities counterfeiting multiple pure identities so as to compromise a disproportionate share of the system. In other words, an adversary tries to get a large number of nodals, which may or may not be randomly generated to appear and function as distinct nodes. So it is to prevent fakeness. Encointer offers a framework in principle, allows any group of real people to create, distribute, and use their own digital community tokens. Okay. It looks to invert the quintillion effect where money is issued at the bottom and not as a credit to businesses or creditworthy individuals. This way, every individual gets a universal basic income. Okay, they're losing me a little bit here. Huh? What are we talking about? Quintillion effect is a change in relative prices resulting from a change in money supply. Got it. Okay. The value per asset changes with supply and demand, where money is issued at the bottom and as a credit to businesses or creditworthy individuals. This way, every individual gets a universal basic income. Okay. Encointer uses a POP mechanism to foster unique identity. Participants requested to attend physical key signing ceremonies with small groups of random people at randomized locations where the local meetings are part of a global ceremony that could occur. Wow, I've not heard of this Encointer thing. It sounds very foreign to me. Have you heard of it? I have not heard of this at all. But participants use the Encointer wallet app to participate in these ceremonies, and the wallet enables the management of local community currencies. Watch an Encointer ceremony in action in this video. Okay, I'm down. At a coordinated time and place to prove their personhood. This is an ad. I'm like, this doesn't seem like something. This is an Encointer ceremony going on right here. So they're doing something. They're all getting together at the same time and doing something. Let's go ahead and bump this up a little bit. Okay. Oh, this is weird. Why the face mask, guys? Like, what's like? Why? I don't understand. And you know, in the world of crypto, like, it's already a little, you know, weird enough. People are already sort of afraid of the future to some degree, and you know, this sort of stuff just makes it a little bit less accessible to the general populace. Like, if you're a gazillion-dollar hedge fund manager, you're gonna want to, you know, invest in, you know, a project that looks like this. I don't know. But anyway, I guess, you know, maybe they won't need to if they have been designated as a common good parachain. They don't have to worry about raising capital for a future slot auction since they already have their own parachain. So yeah, it offers a civil defense mechanism, which is like acting like you're somebody else or many other people, and a basis for digital democracy. This can also be adapted by system level change, which can use the unique identity system to prevent simple attacks and use proof of personhood for token airdrops or falses. It could be interesting for like a voting sort of system. Although if you have to like go and meet other people in real life about it. I guess, it's still blockchain voting, which, may have a public implication. But it's, yeah, don't let me get thrown off by the weirdness of the mask. The mask thing was weird though. Implications, voting. Let's call it blockchain voting. We'll say eligibility for airdrops and faucets, but really is to resist Sybil attacks, those where people spoof or impersonate many other accounts. So it is a thing. Let's just take a quick look at Encointer. You know what? This is supposed to be about statement. Let's just see what else we can see under statement. Nothing under here. Statement. So 137 commits. It's interesting that the last commits are like from last year. So I don't know if things are still being done, or maybe development is locked, or see what's on here. Yeah, all this seems to be done. Let's see what's going on. Projects. It says there's two. Statement V2, it should be worked on after V1 is deploy statement V1. Oh, repository has been archived. Okay. So is there anything on here? How do we know? Parity. Yeah, I don't really, let me know if you guys are super up on the GitHub sort of ecosystem, but I don't see where the common good parachain sort of repository is, or anything where I can get more information on statements. I mean, of course, they do have just this link in here, and then parachains.info. Yeah, I think it might just be, launched, and it is its own sort of feature that can be explored within, the parachain world, but there isn't really much more to do with it. Like, so you can see like investors, there's no Web3 grant on here. Hop back into the chat. Cosmos seems to mimic Polkadot, but Osmosis, which is built on Cosmos, was compromised. Not wishing this on Dot, but they seem to be quite successful in escaping attacks. Any idea what Dot's using? So the Cosmos virtual machine has some other sort of novel consensus mechanism that seems to work. I think the Binance Smart Chain uses it. I think Avalanche also uses it. And, it's good to know that, they're able to resist sort of attacks. Osmosis was compromised. Let's see. $5 million exploit. Excuse me. I know that the Polkadot, not virtual machine, but the sort of infrastructure that they use to run and manage the blockchain is Substrate. So I don't think that the infrastructure is the same. So I guess this is to say without actually having in-depth research on this topic already, that it's not necessarily a given that the same implications that applied to the Cosmos breach would apply to Akala or any other sort of DeFi platform on Polkadot or any of its parachains. Let's see what else we can find out. Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, so it looks like somebody, if according to user, if you provide liquidity to liquidity pools, you'd be able to withdraw 50% more than your deposit without any bonding period. Interesting. It seems like oversight. So I don't know, whoever is developing together the Kala program, just to make sure you double check and make sure that this isn't a vulnerability that you have, and that way you won't be hacked for millions of dollars. But good to see that the Osmosis team was able to keep this exploit relatively small. I mean, 5 million is big to any one of us, but to all of us, it's not too bad. Let's see, anything else? So yeah, I think all in all, there's not a whole lot more going on. I don't see any other common good parachains. Let's see if there's a way for me to search for that here. Let's see, parachains.info, blah, 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 common good, parachain. All common good parachains are parachains, so that seems like a solid way to do it. But common, yeah, it looks like these are the only common good parachains on the entire Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem, according to parachains.info, which lists information on all the parachains. Only the Statemint/Statemine project has the common good designation, as well as Encointer, which interestingly is only on Kusama. So I assume that they will be rolling out to Polkadot as well, maybe with some more, user testing in real life. They'll decide, hey, this is worth rolling out. But it says stuff is going on in the GitHub. I'm pretty sure when I clicked in, we didn't. Yeah, I wonder what GitHub is reporting as an event. Very cool. So yeah, I think that's about it. Let's just make sure that we've answered all of our questions today. In the description, what is a common good parachain? We know that common good parachains are basically those that add some sort of utility to the entire ecosystem. In other crypto cases, you might see these as just a functionality of the core code base itself, but because of the way that the Polkadot project, Dr. Gavin Wood, has decided to organize his project, this particular function is relegated to one of the parachains to handle that particular function. In some degree, separates the security layer from individual exploitable functions. So it's starting to get clearer and clearer now why this is a potentially superior way to architect your blockchain for security. how do common good parachains work? They are parachains and don't have to be reelected in slot auctions. They just, provide value to the entire parachain. And depending on the type of parachain it is, there may be functionality passed from the beacon chain to the individual parachains themselves for an existing utility, or there's introductions of new functionality that puts that needs to be elected, essentially needs to be voted via referendum via a relay chain council, whoever is on that. Let's just take a quick look, see relay chain council. Who's on the relay chain council? I'm just curious. It's probably because you want to know who's voting in these various Polkadot functions. Clustering. Who's the council? Would it be community? Maybe. Join the Polkadot chat. This is not the same thing. Relay chain council Polkadot referendum. Encointer application for a common good parachain slot. So yeah, it looks like any parachain can ask to become a common good parachain. I imagine it's a pretty tall ask. Proposing a common good parachain to Polkadot governance. Yeah, I mean, let me know if anybody has ever actually used governance before. I have just once, just to like see what that was like. But yeah, the governance bodies, I just wanted to find a easy way to find out who they are, but maybe I'm asking too much. I assume it's Gavin Wood, but Polk Assembly. Huh. What else is here? So yeah, it seems like this Polk Assembly website might be a good place to get started if you want to get involved in governance. I think we found it. Maybe we'll do a future episode to do a deep dive into. Oh wow, do a deep dive into governance on Polkadot. Are y'all interested in governance? I mean, it's literally free to vote. So, is there a transaction fee? There might be a transaction fee. But yeah, I think that about wraps on that. Process of becoming a common good parachain. That's kind of what we're looking into. You have to propose it to the council. Statemint and Statemine projects offer to Polkadot ecosystem. What do? They allow you to create and manage these assets. And what's going on with these projects? Not much, apparently, according to their GitHubs. I haven't seen anything going on with them lately, but maybe that's good. Maybe it's a canned project that delivers a function and they don't want to upgrade it. And how can you get involved? Hop right on over to polkassembly.io and explore into democratizing governance for substrate chains, mission, live chains. That's cool. Yeah, so very interesting. Polkadot.polkassembly.io. Anybody wants to get involved in governance, but I don't know if this remote endpoint stuff is going to work for me because my live streaming and it takes a little bit. Anywho, I think that's about good a place as any to wrap. I appreciate y'all being here with me on this Friday, June 24th. As always, do well, then do good, and seek peace. We'll see you next week.